それではですね、
Now we would like to go to the lecture session. There will be 4 sessions. First, Professor Koike, Conservation Management of Asiatic Black Bears in Japan, Current Status and Issues. Professor Koike, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm with the TUAT. My name is Koike. I'd like to focus on conservation and management of Asiatic black bears in Japan, current status and issues. There are 2 bears in Japan, as Professor Uno mentioned. In Honshu Shikoku, there are the Asiatic bears. They're distinct in Kyushu, and in Shikoku they might be extinct. There are risks. On Asiatic bears, black bears, I would like to focus on 4: distribution expansion, the population increase, and more conflicts with human activities. On the other hand, in the forest area, because of the excessive increase of deer, ecological changes and management on deer is causing many problems on bears. Fourthly, while the nationwide distribution is expanding, but the Shikoku population is at the risk of extinction. I just would like to focus on these 4 matters. The first one, the expansion of the distribution range and the increase in population. This shows the changes of the distribution range. 1978, that's blue. 2003, green. 2018, red. Gradually, you can see the distribution is expanding. Currently, the black bears, regarding the exact number of population, we don't know, but there are a lot of estimates, studies. In some areas, the number is increasing. So nationwide, the bears population, in the long term, we believe that it's actually increasing. Currently, about Japanese bears, the distribution range and the number of captures, these are something that we know for sure. By the time, if you look at the number of captures that's shown on the right-hand side, the number of captures it's not directly reflecting the population, but as the distribution expands, the number of captures has been on the increase. As a result, regarding Japan's black bears, in the mid to long-term, distribution areas are expanding, and the number is probably increasing. As reasons, roughly speaking, there are 2 reasons. Around 1980s, if you look at Japan, the economy was pretty good. Nationwide, forest was developed. And in some populations, there's isolation or the decrease of the number of population in certain populations. In those areas, in some areas, the hunting was restrained. In 1990s, Japan's first red data book was published, and certain bear populations were designated as at the risk of extinction in 1999. Prefectural government came up with a plan for deer and wild boars. There was a target, the number for harvesting to reduce the number of conflicts. But for bears, the ceiling to recover the number of population, the policy was introduced. So for several decades, as a result of the achievement, the black bears, the populations in various areas are now slowly recovering. At the same time, the major changes occurred in the Japanese society. As you can see on the left-hand side, in the past decades, the Japanese population decreased significantly. Also aging, people are aging. With the aging from mid to high range mountainous areas, people no longer live in those areas. Then there are a lot of fields abandoned, and then they go back to forest. So newly made forests are now attracting bears and others. And now the population distribution is expanding, and the number is increasing. So the changes in the society and also the policy changes are also having impact on the population of bears and the distribution. And the conflict with the human activities has been on the increase during the autumn. And in the areas where people live, there are a lot of sightings, a lot of appearances, because the harvest of beech nuts or the acorns, and then because of the poor harvest, poor masting. It results in the expanded areas of activities by bears. GPS-colored bears are shown here. Right-hand side, that's good masting. Left-hand side, that's poor masting. During the period of poor masting, many bears are active in wider areas. As a result of wider areas of their activities, they come closer to people. A lot of more frequent sightings of bears. With those appearances, a lot of conflict. In those conflicts, most problematic is that human injuries. When frequent appearances occurred, the number of bears culled. In Japan, with poor masting, the frequent sighting was reported in 2004, 2006, 2020, and 2014. You can see that after some interval, the mass sighting was reported. Regarding the poor masting, that's something natural. It happened in the past, but with the wider distribution, this poor masting has a huge impact. And in the mountainous areas, the people are aging, and it has become easier for bears to come into those people's areas. So since 2006, it's possible that there have been a lot of appearances of bears. In the past 10 years or so, away from forests, even in urban areas, the sightings have been reported once in several years. There has been an appearance of bears. When bears appear in those urban areas, many people get injured. Sometimes people lost their lives. If you look at this with the context of bears' human casualties, you can see the red is the people who lost their lives. Blue are representing injuries. And if you look at the number of captures and culls, you can see that where a lot of mass sightings, people get injured. You can see that there has been an increase in the conflict. 2023, more than 200 people had incidents with bears. It has become a big societal matter, as you can remember. Based on this, the Environment Ministry, they have come up with the policies, roughly speaking, three. First, zoning management, separate human living area and bear living area. And there is a buffer zone between to lower the conflict. That's something that they're doing. Secondly, so far, it was based on local prefecture, if you look at the past policies, but if you look at the actual activities and the capabilities, wider area management is necessary. So promotion of that. Number three, so far, monitoring has been conducted, but enhance its precision so that the population situation and also the damages can be captured. More adaptive management perhaps should be promoted. So the adaptive management is based on monitoring. By working on these multiple measures, even during the poor masting period, make sure that the environment will be ready, that bears will not appear in where people are active. Number three, Japanese Sika deer problem. The bears' distribution areas are expanding at the same time. Wild boars and the Shika deer, their distribution is expanding. Deer and bears in the past 40 years, distribution, if you look at the number, is expanding. Especially the Shika deer, the number is increasing, and they have a huge impact on the ecology. Bears are also affected by the increased number of population of deer. If you look at this, the photo, it's about 50 kilometers southwest of TUAT, Tanzan Mountains in Kanagawa Prefecture. You can see images. In 1980s, the Shika deer has been on the increase, as you can see. Only within the fence, you can see that where Shika deer are active, so the land is barren because of densification of deer. With the densification, you can see that there is also known impact on bears. In Tanzawa, these are the things that bears eat during 1990s, left-hand side 2000. This is what they eat during the autumn season. In the past 20 years, there has been significant changes in their diet, especially various kinds of fruits, nuts are now eaten. Because of the excessive increase of deer, what because of their browsing, the plants disappeared. Before hibernation, bears must eat various kinds of fruits, and that's already happening. And the impact of deer is felt not just on plants, on other foods as well. From TUAT to northwest, about 50 kilometers in Okutama Mountains, left-hand side, this is the deer density. Right-hand side, that shows percentage of frequency in feces of deer in Burma's 1990s and 2000. There's a rapid increase of deer. As a result of culling in the latter half of 2000s, density has stabilized concerning deer. During that period, bears, if we look at bear's fruit, when there are few deer, there is almost no deer in bears, but there's a higher density of deer, the percentage of deer increases. And when the density of deer decreases, the percentage in bear's diet decreases. Normally, the bears cannot actually capture the adult deer. They eat cadaver or the fawn, the smaller ones. So we didn't really know the situation where bears eat adult deer. We have some fragmental information. You can see that it's a video cam fixed on the color bear, where it was shot. So this is very close to depot of deer cadavers. This is just estimated. People culled those deer, but they were not disposed of. It's possible that bears are feeding on those cadaver. So people try to manage cadaver or the deer in general, and that's changing ecology of bears. This is a different place. Temporarily, within this hole, the cadaver of deer is stored, and it was the month of November. Many bears visit this place, and they feed on the cadaver. In this hole, you can find the deer cadaver. As people cull deer, the diet, food preference, and activities of bears are changing because of the impact. Wild boar and deer are increasing. There is a different kind of problem. Nationwide, with deer and wild boar increase, their culling has been recommended. And wild boar and deer, many snare traps are placed in the mountains, and sometimes the bears are captured. That's the unintentional capture. Unintentionally captured, the bears must be released, but technically there are technical issues, safety issues. Many bears, it's possible that they are culled on the spot. The northern part of Kanto, number of bears culled is shown in the red. If you look at the red, due to unintentional capture, incidental capture, this is the number of bears captured in this area. The blue shows the deer culled. As more deer are culled, due to unintentional capture, bears are also increasingly captured. The increase of this unintentional capture, this issue, there's another issue caused by snare traps. So the deer is captured, but now the bear is attacking. Only after 40 minutes since the capture, the bear is visiting the area. They feed. He feeds on this. For 24 hours, he remained in the spot feeding on this. In the past, they fed on the cadaver, but now they captured, because of the snare trap, the deer is now eaten by this bear. So the management of deer could perhaps have an impact on the ecology or the activities of bears. Lastly, the population, risk of extinction populations in Shikoku. Nationwide, its distribution is expanding, but the risk of co-extinction populations in Shikoku, that's pretty severe. In Shikoku, the number decreased because of the several reasons. The forestry industry was so active, and that's why there was artificial forestry, and because of the bark stripping, there are a lot of captures. And also in this eastern part of Shikoku, you can find bears in 1996 that were fewer than 50, but in 2017, somewhere between 16 to 24. If the current situation continues in 2036, there is a 62% probability of extinction. So this is really in a difficult situation. That's the current situation concerning bear populations in Japan. They are all interlinked: expansion of distribution, increase in population, and increase in conflict with human activities, and overabundance of Shika deer. And ecology of the bears might be impacted by this overabundance of deer. With the expansion of distribution and the distance between humans and bears become too close, but we need to again distance them. On the other hand, we are running out of time concerning the populations in Shikoku. We are running out of. We really need to come up with measures, otherwise they are really facing a huge risk of extinction.